Salt Lake Community College and Summer Bear Life Balance Education are pleased to present the Mockingjay players in Part 4 of John W. Campbell's Who Goes There?
You need more serum?
Tests. There's 4 cows and a bull and nearly 70 dogs down there. This stuff reacts only to human blood and monsters.
What did you do? More immunizing?
Immunizing? Immune, all right.
The monster is quite logical. Our immune dog was quite alright, and we drew a little more serum for the test. But we won't make any more.
Can't you use one man's blood or another?
There aren't any more dogs. Nor cattle, I might add.
No more dogs.
They're very nasty when they start changing, but slow. That electrocution iron you made up bar is very fast. There is only one dog left, our immune. The monster left that for us, so we could play with our little tests. The rest,
The cattle.
also reacted very nicely. They look funny as hell when they start melting. The beast hasn't any quick escape when it's tied in dog chains or halters.
The milk? I milked him an hour ago. No!
Get him! He's probably hopelessly mad, but he might be a monster escaping. He hasn't skis. Take a blowtorch in case.
Mac, how long have the cows not been cows?
It tests negatively, which means either they were cows then, or that being perfect imitations, they gave perfectly good milk.
Mac, the dogs must have swallowed pieces of the monster and the pieces destroyed them. The dogs were where the monster resided. I was locked up. Doesn't that prove...
Sorry. Proves nothing about what you are. Only proves what you didn't do.
It doesn't do that. We are helpless, because we don't know enough, and so jittery we don't think straight. Ever watch a white corpuscle of the blood go through the wall of a blood vessel? No? It sticks out a pseudopod, and there it is on the far side of the wall.
Oh. The cattle tried to melt down, didn't they? They could have melted down, become just a thread of stuff, leaked under the door to recollect on the other side. Ropes, no, that wouldn't do it. They couldn't live in a sealed tank, or...
If you shoot it through the heart and it doesn't die, it's a monster. That's the best test I can think of offhand.
No dogs, and no cattle. It has to imitate men now, and locking it up doesn't do any good. Your test might have worked, Mac, but I'm afraid it's going to be too hard on the crew.
O Lord, how many are mine foes? How many rise up against me? Many are
I don't mind the
saying,
cooking so
God,
damn much, but isn't there a way we could stop that bird?
Kinner? I'm afraid not. I can dope him, I suppose, but we don't have an unlimited supply of Halidol, and he's not in danger of losing his mind, just hysterical.
Well, we're in danger of losing ours. You've been out for an hour and a half. That's been going on steadily ever since. It was going on 2 hours before. There's a limit, you know.
If you could stop that. I think it would be a sound policy, Mac. There are tensions enough in this room. We agreed that it would be safe for Ed in there because everyone else in camp is under constant eyeing. And just try, in God's name, to find some test that will work.
Watch or unwatched, everyone's tense.
Is there no other test?
Cooper was perfectly right. The serum test could be absolutely definitive if it hadn't been contaminated. But that's the only dog left, and he's fixed now.
Chemicals. What about chemical tests?
Our chemistry isn't that good. I tried the microscope, you know.
Monster dog and real dog were identical, but you've got to go on. What are we going to do after dinner?
We will start rotation sleeping.
Excuse me? Rotation sleeping?
Half the crowd sleeps, the other half stays awake. I wonder how many of us are monsters. All the dogs were. We thought we were safe, but somehow it got Cooper, or you. May have gotten every one of you all, but myself may be wondering, looking. No, that's not possible. You'd spring then. I'd be helpless. We humans might somehow have the greater number now, but...
You're doing what Norris complained of in me, leaving it hanging. But if one more is changed, that may shift the balance of power. It doesn't fight. I don't think it ever fights. It never had to, because it always gained its end otherwise.
You're suggesting then that perhaps it already has the greater numbers, but it's just waiting. All of them, all of you, For all I know, waiting till
Lord,
I,
how
the
many
last
are
human,
mine
drop my
foes?
wariness
How
and
many
sleep.
rise up against
Back.
me? Many
Did
are
you notice their
slain
eyes?
of me, God.
All looking at us.
You haven't been sitting here for 4 hours straight, while all their eyes silently weighed the information that one of us two, Cooper or I, is a monster. Certainly, perhaps both of us.
Lord, how many are mine foes?
Will you stop
How
that bird's
many
noise?
rise
He's
up
driving me
against
nuts.
Many are slain.
Make him tone it down anyway.
Still singing prayer?
He hasn't stopped for a second. I don't mind his praying if it relieves him, but he yells and he sings psalms and hymns and shouts prayers. He thinks God can't hear him way down here?
Maybe he can't, or he'd have done something about all this thing loosed from hell.
Somebody's gonna try that test you mentioned. If you don't stop him, I think a cleaver in the head would be as positive as a test as a bullet in the heart.
Go ahead with the food. I'll see what I can do. There may be something in the cabinets.
Our Father in heaven,
just
hallowed
have to
be
take
thy
that till his
name.
voice
Lord,
wears
how
out.
Many are
He
mine
can't yell like that
foes?
forever.
How many rise up against
He's
me?
got a
Many are
brass
slain.
throat and a cast iron larynx. Then we would be hopeful and suggest he's one of our friends. In that case, he could go on renewing his throat till doomsday.
You sit as still as a bunch of graven images. You don't say a word, but oh, what expressive eyes you've got. They roll around like a bunch of glass marbles spilling down a table. They wink and blink and stare and whisper things. Can you guys look somewhere else for a change, please? Listen, Mac, you're in charge here. Let's run movies for the rest of the night. We've been saving those reels to make them last. Last for what? Who is going to see those last reels, huh? Let's see them while we can and look at something other than each other.
Sound idea, Sam. I, for one, am quite willing to change this in any way I can.
Turn the sound up loud, Mac. Maybe you can drown out the hymns.
But don't turn off the lights altogether.
The lights will be out. We'll show all the cartoon movies we have. You won't mind seeing the old cartoons, will you?
Goody goody, a mom picture show. I'm just in the mood.
Okay, you win. Maybe we aren't quite in the mood for Popeye and Felix the Cat, but it's something.
Let's play classification, or maybe you call it Guggenheim. You draw lines on a piece of paper and put down classes of things like animals, you know. One for H and one for U and so on, like human and unknown, for instance. I think that would be a hell of a lot better game. Classification, I sort of figure, is what we need right now a lot more than movies. Maybe someone's got a pencil that can you draw lines with? Draw lines between the U animals and the H animals, for instance?
McGreedy's trying to find that kind of pencil, but we've got 3 kinds of animals here, you know. One that begins with M. We don't want any more.
Mad ones, you mean?
Consume them, wrath, consume them.
Bill, I'll help you get on with those pots so we can get our little peep show going.
Van, I've been wondering whether or not to report my ideas in advance. I forgot the U animals, as Clark named it, could read minds. I have a vague idea of something that might work. It's too vague to bother with, though. Go ahead with your show while I try to figure out the logic of the thing. I'll take this bunk.
Perhaps you should tell us what you have in mind? As it is, only the unknowns know what you plan. You might be unknown before you got it into action.
Won't take long, if I get it figured out right. Tom, cut that sound. Kinner stopped.
For Pete's sake, he may have stopped to listen.
If you're going to open that door, have Connors do it.
Sorry?
We can get along without you altogether, whether you're human or not.
Haven't we got enough grief here already? Somebody's tried to help us out. Kinner has a knife in his throat, which is why he stopped singing. We've got monsters, madmen, and murderers. Any more M's you can think of, Bill? If there are, we'll probably have them before long.
Is Blair loose?
Blair is not loose, where she flew in. If there's any doubt about where our gentle helper came from, this may clear it up. Here's the knife.
I know that knife. I burnt the wooden handle this afternoon. I forgot the damn thing and left it on the stove.
Yeah, I smelled it, if you remember. I knew the knife came from the galley.
I wonder, how many more monsters do we have? If somebody could slip out of his place, go back of the screen to the galley and back, he did come back, didn't he? Yes, everybody's here. Well, if one of the gang could do all that...
Oh, maybe a monster did it. There's still that possibility.
The monster, as you pointed out today, has only humans left to imitate. Would it decrease its supply, shall we say? No, we just have a plain, ordinary louse, a murderer to deal with. Ordinarily, we'd call them an inhuman murderer, I suppose. But we have to distinguish now. We have inhuman murderers, and now we have human murderers. Or one, at least.
There's one less human. Maybe the monsters have the balance of power now.
Never mind that. Bar, will you get your electric gadget? I'm going to make certain... Bar! Bar! Well, whoever did it can speak up now. He was an inhuman murderer at that, in that he murdered an inhuman. I swear by all that's holy, Ed was a lifeless corpse on the floor when we arrived. But when it found we were going to jab it with the power, it changed.
Oh, Lord, those things can act. Gad's sitting here for hours, mouthing prayers to a god it hated, shouting hymns in a cracked voice, hymns about a church it never knew, driving us mad with its ceaseless howling. Well, speak up. Whoever did it, you didn't know it, but you did the camp a favor, and I want to know how in the blazes you got out of that room without anyone seeing you. It might help in guarding ourselves.
His screaming, his singing, even the movie couldn't drown it. It was a monster.
Bill, you were sitting right next to the door, weren't you? And almost behind the projection screen?
Yeah, it's quiet now. It's dead, Mac. Your test is no damn good. It's dead anyway. Monster or man, it was dead.
People. Meet William. The only one we know is human. Meet William Clark, the one who proves he's human by trying to commit murder and failing. Will the rest of you please refrain from trying to prove you're human for a while? I think we may have another test.
A test? I suppose it's another, either way you want it.
No. Look sharp and be careful.
Thank you for listening to Part 4 of John W. Campbell's Who Goes There? Something to think about. Stephen Hawking said, if aliens ever visit us, I think the outcome would be much as when Christopher Columbus first landed in America, which didn't turn out very well for the American Indians. Be sure to listen to the Mockingjay Players in Part 5 next time.